Hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, My Journey with RA. Um, Again, my name is Janine. I also go by Letha, and I use these weekly videos to talk about my life with rheumatoid arthritis, some of the challenges that I've had, and some of the lessons that I've learned, and then also with the hope of having you guys share with me and the community um, some of what you've learned in your journey with either rheumatoid arthritis or other autoimmune illnesses. So, with that said, welcome again. Um, Last time I talked about my diagnosis and what that was like for me. Um, this week, I want to talk about what my initial treatment plan was once I was diagnosed, what that looked like, and the effects of that. So, when I was initially diagnosed, the first treatment that I was put on was methotrexate and folic acid. They typically recommend or require that you take folic acid when you take methotrexate. And because I didn't want the stomach issues, sometimes when you take a pill form of methotrexate, you can get upset belly, and I didn't want that. And I'm not afraid of needles in particular. So my choice was to opt for the injections. And I would self-administer a weekly injection of the methotrexate. Um, and that was pretty much it. I didn't have any other medications prescribed to me at that time. And I think a lot of people will find, especially back 20 years or so ago, that a lot of rheumatologists and doctors kind of did trial and error, and that's probably still the case today as well with new diagnoses. But that's pretty much where we started, right? And I think methotrexate at that point was kind of a tried and true first line of defense. All right, let's start with this and see how it goes. For me, the methotrexate seemed to work at least for a while. I didn't really get any significant flares or deformations or anything like that for the first few years. So it was pretty successful. However, it soon stopped being successful. And that's probably one of the things that you'll find along your journey. I hope not. I hope you find the solution and you go into remission and all is well. Like, that is my prayer, my hope for everyone watching. Um, for a lot of us, that is not the case. We tend to, I don't know if it's get used to the medication, but the medication will tend to stop working for a lot of us. And that is what happened with me with the methotrexate after a few years. The, um, the other thing I wanted to point out, and it's kind of obvious, right? If you look at me, I'm quite hairless on top. I'm very bald. Um, and I did have a bout with breast cancer back in 2020, and I'll talk about that in later videos. And a lot of people, um, understandably, think that I'm bald because of the cancer and the treatment for the cancer, but that's actually not the case. I was bald before I got cancer, and that was due to the methotrexate. So I was on the MTX for, like I said, a few years with the injection, and it did take my hair. Um, that was hard. That was difficult. Um, I very much loved playing with my hair. I was, I wore braids and weaves and naturals and all the things. I loved experimenting with different hairstyles. So to lose my hair was a big deal. I didn't I did not go bald easily. I fought it. I fought it. Um, it was really hard, but that is one of the possible side effects of methotrexate, and that's something to be very aware of. At the time, I knew that it was a possibility, but I said to myself that as important as my hair is, my health is more important, right? So I didn't let the threat of the hair loss deter me from taking the medication. And so I ended up bald. Um, Real quick, I just want to kind of tell you a little bit of story about when I decided to just lean into the baldness, right? So it was back in 2017. Now, mind you, I've been going bald for years because of the methotrexate. I was losing hair left and right, but I was covering it up with a lot of weaves, a lot of wigs, and things like that. But it was just underneath, it was really bad. And I kept thinking to myself, do I shave it? Do I continue to hide it? Like, what do I do here? And the thought of going bald just terrified me. I didn't know what that was going to be like. And one day I was wearing a wig and it was really windy outside. I kept my wig on. The wig didn't go away. It didn't fly down the street, thank God. But I just remember being scared that it was going to fly off. And I was like, I don't like this feeling. I don't like being beholden to this wig, and like I felt like I was handcuffed to it. Do you know what I mean? So at that point, I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna do it. And if I don't like it, the wigs aren't going anywhere. I put the wigs back on, right? So I ended up calling my cousin, and Levon, love you, Levon. We made a day of it. We called it BB&B, brunch, barber, berets. So we went to have brunch. Then we went to the barber to have my hair shaved. And then and at the barber, we brought our brunch drinks. So it was, we're sitting in the chair and I'm just talking and trying not to be nervous and got my little adult beverage. Um, and we did it. I did it. And then afterward, she made me take a small photo session, right? To just lean into what I look like and accept it and show the beauty of it. And then we went shopping for hats. That was the beret part. Um, so it ended up being a day of celebration, um, and love and acceptance. And I hope that for anybody that might be considering having to go through something like that, I hope you find someone that can support you in that journey and help you lean into it, into whatever that new chapter might look like for you. So that was the day I decided to shave my head because of the methotrexate. Um, but again, the methotrexate stopped working after a while, and I had to go on my first biologic, um, and that was a little scary. So after that, I kind of became a little bit of a guinea pig, and since then I've tried several different things, including Humira, Ambro, Rinvoq. Um, there was another one, I can't remember what it was. It was in pill form, but all those trial and error um, medications and treatments. And right now I'm doing well on Orencia, but because my rheumatoid arthritis is considered severe, I do an infusion monthly, um, and that's where I am right now. So that's kind of where my medical journey has gone. So let me know in the comments, What's your medical journey been like? Have you had to try several different options? How long did you stay on each each medication before you realized, you know what, I don't think it's working. Let me try something different. Were you able to ever go into remission? I was never able to accomplish remission. I wasn't lucky enough for that. But did you find something that put you in remission? Let us know what that was like. Um, the the Again, one of the things I want these videos to be is useful. And so this week, I just wanted to give a tip to anyone that's doing any kind of injection for their medication. Like I said, I was doing the Methotrexate. I've also done the injectable pen for the Humira and the Enbrel, and it was actually years before I realized there's a spot on your body where the injection is so much less painful than other places. Nobody ever told me that. Like when I read the instructions for how to inject, it said either do it in the fatty part of your lower belly or in your upper thigh. And so that's what I was doing. But what I was doing was I was injecting in the top part of my quad, right? And it wasn't horrible, but I could feel it, right? I later got the tip to inject on what you know where you call your saddlebags on the side of your thigh where there's all that nice juicy fat. I was told that's a good spot to do it. And so I started doing it there and oh my God, the difference is remarkable. I hardly feel it. It is so much easier. So if you're doing injectables, and you're not doing them on your saddlebag, my tip to you this week, try it there and see if it gives you more comfort in administering that medication. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you again next week and take care of yourselves. Bye.